of the Board of Directors or Board of Commission for San Juan County. Time is 11:03. Roll call. Mr. Adam is here and myself. I don't know if Mr. Maryboy is online or not.
Commissioner Maryboy said that he may be in and out. There's a meeting in Mexican water chapter that he wanted to attend.
Okay. With that, any offer to open in prayer?
I'll do it again. I've done it the last 2 times, but I'll do it again.
Okay.
Dear Father in heaven, as we come before thee as a county commission this day, we're grateful for all the many blessings we have. We're grateful for being able to be county commissioners, and we ask you to bless our staff, people that work for the county, especially those who are in harm's way, that they'll be protected. Bless our citizens, that they will be judicious with their water, that they will be able to preserve the water that we have, that we need this year. Father in heaven, we ask you to bless our governor and those who run the state. Bless the President of the United States and those in Congress. They'll make good decisions for all of us. We ask you to bless the people of Ukraine, that they will be out of harm's way and that they can resolve that issue. We're grateful for all our many blessings, and these things we say in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. With that, going next to the agenda. Mr. McDonald.
Okay, on our agenda, relatively large agenda today, we've got under the consent agenda items, you have the approval of the May 11th, 2022 Special Commission meeting minutes. Item 2, approval of the commission meeting minutes for May 17th, 2022. Approval of the check registers for May 14th through June 3rd, 2022. You have approval of a contract renewal with Zion's Way for registered nurse services for aging waiver services. Then item 5, approval of contract renewal to purchase case management and home health services for Zion Way. Item 6, approval of a contract renewal for caregiver respite care with Zion's Way. Item 7, approval of a contract renewal with Rocky Mountain Home Health for registered nurse services for aging waiver services. Item 8, approval of contract renewal to purchase case management and home health services with Rocky Mountain Home Health. Then you have approval of a contract renewal for caregiver respite care with Rocky Mountain Home Health. You have an approval of a contract renewal to purchase case management and home health services with Comfort at Home Care. You have approval of a contract renewal for caregiver respite care with Comfort at Home Care. Approval of contract renewal for Sheila Knight, a registered nurse for aging waiver services. You have the approval of the updates to the San Juan County Basic Emergency Operation Plan. Included in that plan is Annex 16 for the homeless services that we have. On item 18, you have a small purchase order of $1,884.16 for steering pump for the road department. Under recognitions, presentations, and informational items, you have the review and discussion of the management plan amendment, matching language in the state of Utah's management plan. That'll be provided by Nick Sandberger, County Public Lands Coordinator. Item 16, you'll have an election update and informational items for early voting dates and centers. That'll be provided by Megan Gallegos. On item 17, under business action items, we have consideration and approval of the outdoor recreation grant agreement with the State of Utah Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity for $70,300 awarded for the installation of RV hookups County Fairgrounds. This will be presented by Elaine, our Economic Development Visitor Services Director. Item 18, consideration and approval of the San Juan County Student Scholarship Awards to San Juan County students. That'll be presented by Elaine. And then consideration and approval of a letter of support for the 2023 San Juan County Economic Development Visitor Services 2023 grant funding with a required match from San Juan County in the amount of $250,000. That'll be presented by Elaine. Then consideration and approval of the sole source contract with Litigic LLC for an amount not to exceed $15,000 for grant writing services for the county. That'll be presented by Elaine as well. Item number 21, consideration and approval of a contract with Monami for $13,000 of grant funds for aging services. That'll be presented by Tammy, our aging director. Item 22, consideration and approval of updated San Juan County National Incident Management System implementation plan. That'll be presented by Tammy in her role as San Juan County Emergency Manager. Item 23 is the supporting resolution from that plan. Is a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of San Juan County, Utah, establishing the National Incident Management System as the standard for incident management in San Juan County, Utah. And that'll be presented by Tammy as well. Item 24 is consideration and approval of a resolution of the San Juan County Board of Commissioners declaring the existence of a drought emergency in San Juan County, Utah, pursuant to Utah Code Section 17-8-7. That'll be presented by Tammy as well. Item 25, consideration and approval of a contract with Integrated Solutions Consulting for the San Juan County Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Mitigation Plan for $29,711.60. That'll be presented by Tammy as well. On this next one, 26, consideration and approval of an interlocal agreement with Moab Valley Fire District for fire protection services for Spanish Valley for $46,000 a year. That will be presented by David Gallego, San Juan County Fire Chief. Then item 27, consideration and approval of notice of award and intent to negotiate a contract with David Churchill for the lease of the San Juan County Airport hangar located in Monticello Airport for $425 a month. Then I'll present that one. We need you to the next, enter into as the Board of Equalization for item 28 and 29. Item 28 is the 2020 and 2021 request for a county indigent tax abatement for F.E. Paul. Then the next one is commercial property abatement request for their taxes for Quality Manufacturing. After that, come back into the commission meeting for commission reports and adjournment after that. That, commissioners, is your agenda for today.
Thank you. Need a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Okay. Call for the second. If Mary Boy is not present, then I'll go ahead and second. With that, call for the vote if there's no other change.
I vote yes.
Yes, also. Opposed? 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Motion carries. Going down, public comment. Do we have any?
Yes, I'd like to make some.
Mr. Adams?
For the past couple of months, maybe even longer than that, we've had public comment regarding planning and zoning. And I would just like to state that the county has listened to those folks who have advised us on planning and zoning. And now for 2 weeks, we have had our planning and zoning document on the website, and we've had 0 comment. And I don't know how long it stays on there, but if people want to be involved, they ought to either comment whether they like it or don't like it, website, because pretty soon it's going to come off and we'll have no comment. So anyway, I'm just letting him know that there's been no comment on our new planning document, our zoning document, and it's been available for over 2 weeks.
Do you want to make a comment? Come on up. Just announce your name and your address, where you live, for the record.
Doug Allen, Moncel. I just saw on the agenda that we're looking at RV hookups at the fairgrounds. And I can see the need for that during rodeos and horse events and stuff. I just want to make sure that that doesn't become competition with our commercial ones in the city. So that's my comment there. If it's for events only that are there at the time, not renting it out and competing. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, anyone else in the audience? We'll give you 3 minutes. Nobody else is in the audience wanting to make a public comment. We will turn the time over online. If there's any of you wishing to make a public comment online, there's a raise your hand feature where you can raise your hand, or since there's few online, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you're wanting to make a public comment. Seeing nobody unmuting themselves, commissioners, that today is your public comment period.
Thank you. Going down to next is consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the, 14 items on the consent agenda as they were presented. So I'd like to make that motion.
Okay. I'll go ahead and second it. Any comment? There's none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Opposed? Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 15.
Okay, we have the review and
Mr.
discussion.
Nick Sandberg.
Review and discussion of the management plan amendment matching language in the state of Utah's management plan.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Well, back in 2016, the state legislature changed updated the state code on county general plans, and in that required an addition of a resource management plan section. And these resource management plans, or RMPs, were to be the documents that would inform the BLM and the Forest Service in how the county would like to see those BLM and Forest Service lands managed. And the legislature had mandated that the counties develop findings, objectives, and policies for the management of these federal lands under 28 separate resource or use topics. And these were such as land use, minerals, energy, livestock grazing, cultural resources, recreation, water, hydrology, etc. And these county RMPs would then be consolidated into a state resource management plan. And our county resource management plan was adopted in 2017, and that was incorporated into the state resource management plan, I think, in that same year. Now, recently in 2021, the state legislature mandated that the state resource management plan and the county resource management plans be updated, and this was basically plan maintenance, on the topics of public lands access, renewable energy, critical minerals and rare earth elements, and they added 2 new topics, utility corridors and pipelines and infrastructure. And the state plan was updated or amended and adopted through House Bill 160, which was signed by Governor Cox on March 21st of this year. Now, county staff, with the assistance of the Public Lands Policy Coordinating Office, have been working on preliminary draft narratives of these topics with specifics for San Juan County, excuse me, consistent with the state plan and the legislative mandate. Now, this process for the amendment or plan maintenance would include input from our Planning and Zoning Commission, along with a public hearing, as well as input from the Board of Commissioners, along with a public hearing, and final modification or adoption by the Board of Commissioners. So how would this plan amendment or maintenance process affect our existing county resource management plan? Well, as to public lands access, there'd be little change that would be needed to our existing plan. We could add a policy to emphasize safe and equitable access, including traditional and cultural access to public lands. And that would really be the change that I would foresee coming into the public lands access portion. Now, in the minerals section, the minerals did not specifically call out critical minerals or rare earth elements, but these were included in the general category of minerals. So there we would add a section on critical minerals and rare earth elements and their importance for national security as well as economic security. Now, there are 4 critical elements that are found in San Juan County, those being lithium, vanadium, manganese, and cobalt. Now, uranium used to be on the critical minerals list, but that was dropped as it was considered or is considered a fuel mineral, and the Energy Act of 2020 specifically excluded fuel minerals from the definition of a critical mineral. So we have those 4 critical minerals in our county. Now, the rare earth elements are basically unlikely to be found in our county because of the geologic makeup of the county. However, the White Mesa Mill does process some of these elements. And actually, just this year, the White Mesa Mill began processing certain critical and rare earth minerals and producing compounds used in the production of nuclear energy in the steel and specialty alloys, and also producing advanced rare earth element products that are used in the U.S. and abroad. Now, just as a side note, this commercial scale rare energy element separation process may have been the first to occur in the United States since the early 2000s. So that's happening at the White Mesa Mill. And since critical minerals and rare earth elements were basically included in the general category of minerals, now we've just highlighted the existence of those, I would see no change in our objectives or policies would be needed for minerals management. Now, another item that we were to update was renewable energy. Well, our plan does include sections on renewable energy for solar and wind. In fact, our plan encourages the use of those powers with, where appropriate, and with mitigation. We could add a policy that would discourage placement of solar farms on prime agricultural lands. So we could basically keep agricultural lands, farmlands, basically in production. Now, the other 2 items, the utility corridors, the pipelines, and infrastructure, weren't specifically highlighted in our existing county resource management plan, but it was tacitly understood that provision for these would have to be made under the existing topics and the policies for minerals, energy, water, land use, access, and others in order to use and develop those resources. In other words, if you were going to have a solar or wind farm, you would need some kind of utility corridor to transmit that power either to local use or out-of-state uses. So a utility corridor would be necessary. So you can't have one without the other. So that's why I say you could say, well, it's between the lines or tacitly understood these things would have been included in our resource management plan. But since they're new topics mandated by the legislature, our main objective there would be to protect and maintain the existing corridors that we have. And those are primarily along our main highways, as well as other routes for the transmission of electrical power, oil, gas, and water in that way. So another item we could add under that new section would be to support federal agencies in providing corridors that would be needed to supply power, as well as communications and water to all county residents, and to meet the needs for the transport and delivery of mineral resources. So this would fit in with possibly new plans or ideas and rights to provide the water to residents of the reservation, as well as power. Now, the sources for the water and the power may come from either these BLM or forest lands, or have to cross those lands in order to get to the point of use for those resources. I don't see our plan identifying any new utility corridors. That would be left to whatever need and new resource or transmission is to be developed in the future. And we would then have input into where that would be. But the plan itself would not identify any specific new utility corridors as I see it. The other new item would be for pipelines and other infrastructure. And this is, as I said, a new resource section. And this would include all types of pipelines, electrical power, and communication lines and related infrastructure. So what I would see our plan having there would be to support a network of pipelines for the transport and delivery of petroleum products and water, and also to support a network of power lines and communication lines and facilities for the transmission and delivery of power, as well as communication to all county residents. So that's basically how I see this plan maintenance or plan amendment would be accomplished or be included. And the state is basically given us their target deadline is to try to get this done in order to meet legislative mandates and other schedules. They would like to have this done by the end of the summer. So we do have some drafts that we've been working on with information that's been provided by the Public Lands Policy Coordinating Office. Any questions or comments you might have on this?
Mr. Adams?
I think we need to be careful about stating things in our policy that, such as add a policy to discourage placement of solar farms on prime agricultural lands. We're in the fourth year of pretty severe drought for our farmers, and many of them have lost 95% of their crop again. We have great potential for solar power, and there just might be a situation where a farmer has no other choice but to put some kind of a solar farm on his property in order for him to survive.
And that's true.
So I'd hesitate a little bit to say the county is going to discourage the placement. We're kind of infringing on the decision-making of the private property owner,
Right.
such as a farmer who might have no other choice, Nick,
Right.
but to encourage that.
And I agree with you there. And this was just an idea draft. that
Right.
we might consider. And as I think about this in more detail, basically our resource management plan is not supposed to relate to privately held lands.
Yeah.
So I think this is probably a mistake that I've even included that in here.
Yeah.
Because the agricultural lands wouldn't necessarily, probably are not, located on, say, BLM or forest lands. Depends on how you would define agricultural, but I took it to mean basically farm, tillable
Yeah.
areas, where if you put a solar farm there, you're probably not going to be able to raise a crop on that. You may be able to graze it, but not raise a crop. So that's probably out of place to even
Yeah,
throw
I
that
don't
in
wanna-
here.
I don't want to infringe on private property
I
rights
agree.
by making a statement in
Yeah.
a county plan that does that.
Okay.
So I don't care whether people put solar or not, but it might be their only choice to
Correct.
maintain their business.
Right. Okay. Good point.
Mm-hmm. That same goes with the wind farm.
Yeah.
I think.
Other than that, I
Okay.
think everything else there, I don't see anything that jumps out at me as other than that.
And I wouldn't see that these, even the new topics, by adding them, would change the drift or the gist of our current resource management plan. It's basically a planned maintenance.
Do you have that draft available for review?
No, not yet. This would still go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that could be as early as this week with their Planning and Zoning meeting to let them see a draft, and then they would have comments or input on it. And then at their next month's meeting, they would hold a public hearing on the revised draft items that we would have. And then the Planning and Zoning Commission would take that public input and maybe massage that into the draft as appropriate. And then the Planning and Zoning Commission would prepare a document with a recommendation to you as the commission. And then you would see the draft items and have some time to look over that. And then there would be a public hearing held as a part of a future county commission meeting to get public input. Then the commissioners would consider that public input and decide whether to modify or change whatever the draft was, and then take that final format and decide what to do with it, whether to reject it or modify it further or approve it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Do you see any problems with it, Brittany? With that
No,
research management?
not at this point in
Okay,
where it's
all
at.
right.
Number 16.
Number 16, election update, and informational items. Megan.
Good morning. I am just giving an update. We are getting pretty hot and heavy into the June 28th primary election and wanted to give a bit of information to get it out there. At this primary elections, only individuals who are registered Republican or reside within School Board District 3 are needing to vote. Anybody else can vote in the general election. That's when we've got most of the races going on. We've got quite a couple of early voting locations, which we started last Tuesday, but I'll give you a rundown on those. So we were at the Bluff Community Center on June 1st. We will be there the 15th and the 22nd from 10 until 2. At the Montezuma Creek Dene Building, the 31st of May, June 6th, 13th, and 21st from 10 to 2. The Monument Valley Welcome Center on June 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 24th from 10 to 2. And the Navajo Mountain Chapter House on June 8th from 10 until 2. At at Bluff, Montezuma Creek, Monument Valley, and Navajo Mountain, we do have Navajo language assistance available. And then we are going to be at White Mesa Community Center June 2nd, 9th, and 16th from 10 to 2. And those also have Ute language assistance available. Our office down in the clerk's office will be available for early voting the entire month, just during the normal business hours. And then we will be in Blanding on the 27th of June from 3 until 7 p.m. We will be in Montezuma Creek, Monument Valley, and Navajo Mountain with Navajo language assistance on the primary day, June 28th, and then in Monticello, here down in the clerk's office, and then White Mesa Community Center. There was also something passed in legislature that required us to put drop boxes in all the municipalities and anywhere that we have a polling location. And so we've got drop boxes that are available down in the clerk's office, at the Blanding city offices, in White Mesa at the community center, in Bluff at their community center, Monument Valley Post Office, Navajo Mountain Chapter House. That box will be available to drop in tomorrow. And then in the Montezuma Creek Aneth area at the administrative building. That will also be available sometime this week. All the other boxes are already placed. Any questions?
There are 2 federal primary races to vote on as well, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Those are just Republican. Yep. Races.
You have Navajo Mountain is one day.
It's one day is early voting. We have a better voter outreach in Bluff, and Navajo Mountain is like consistently really good at showing up on election day.
Then you have Bluff on 3 days. Monument Valley also 3 days.
Yeah. So like I said, Navajo Mountain, they're really consistent on showing up on actual election day. And we met with the Navajo DOJ and got this approved with them. And they said that looks good, how we have it set up.
Okay.
We good?
Good report.
Number 17.
Okay, here we are. Business action items, consideration and approval of the outdoor recreation grant agreement with the state of Utah, Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity for $70,300. Elaine.
Good morning, commissioners and Mac. I applied for the outdoor recreation grant because campsites are approved as part of a grant that you can apply for. And since we didn't get the event center funding that we wanted to move forward, I guess we'll have to look at putting things out there at the event center in stages. At least that's my thought. So the first would be to put in these spots, the camp spots, that would be used during the fair and any other event that would be located out at the fairgrounds. I did talk to TJ Adair yesterday. He had some concerns about the location of it, so I sent over the information for him to look at as to where Jones and DeMille had laid out the location of these camping spots. And he did bring up some valid concerns about the actual rental, when the rentals would take place. I told him that we hadn't worked out all the specific details, but I felt that if we could install the spots and then cordon it off so that it's not used by just people pulling in and staying there, and it would not impact our, current campgrounds, which I don't know how many of the current campgrounds have a truck with a large trailer to transport horses or other animals, livestock. So we would hopefully be able to secure it so that it would only be open during the event, and being able to rent those spots, which would generate revenue, obviously back to help offset the match requirement that we would have to put in there. And TJ's concern was that the spots were in an area that they currently use for the road department. But I believe that Jones and DeMille located them there because that's near the infrastructure for electric, water, sewer, etc. So we have the funding, the $70,300. Obviously, we have to match it, but at least it would be a first step to put something out there as we start. It's going to be piece by piece, and I'm going to look for every grant that we can possibly find for this event center. So,
Mm-hmm.
What about people that pass through? A lot of times they'll stop and put their horses in the fairgrounds because there's water and they can feed them there and stuff. Is there a way to make that available for them to camp there?
I think if we, and I haven't worked out all the specific details, but I would think that if we put out a, where they could make a call and make a reservation to reserve it, and we could probably do that through our office initially, to, reserve those spots. I would think that could be done.
Well, I just think most of those people want to be close to their animals.
Sure.
And I just see them down at the county fairgrounds all the time, pull in there
Right.
and let their horses get out and exercise.
Sure.
And water and feed them. So
And that was kind of always the intent of the stables,
Yeah.
anyways. And so
Yeah.
this would allow for that. One of the things that you don't see with this yet is kind of the fee structure and how we would work that fee structure. So we would have to bring that back to the commissioners
Right.
for final approval on the fees. But we don't want to be in the business of running an RV park.
No.
But there needs to be fees associated, but not compete with our local campgrounds that are here as well, because we never want to be in a position where we undercut their services and the opportunity that they provide already. But like Elaine had mentioned, if this is for those specific events and those specific rentals of the actual stables there, then this will help coordinate it. Right now they're using the location and they're just dumping gray water and everything just out on the ground, and so by having the services here, it'll help us. But there's still more to come with this as far as the pricing.
Okay. What do we have sufficient money for the matching source?
The 70,000, that would have to come out of, I have to talk to Mac, but that would have to come out of possibly the 2023 budget, because we're already, we've allocated all of our funding for 2022. So we'd have to look for that to come out of next year's budget if we can work out the match. Right, Mac? I mean, I don't think it's,
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
just put it on the next year's
Right.
budget when it comes out, and then they're good where their fiscal year stretches for June to July. This will go on for next year's programming.
So no action on this today.
We would, we're hoping that you'll approve the award so that we can get that signed and sent back for them on our acceptance. And then we'll follow up later with the
fee schedule
fee
and
structure
everything, right.
of how much we would charge during specific events, or during it where it's event specific. There's ways that we could shut off the power until we're actually in an event, turn
Yeah.
the power back on.
And that's what I talked to TJ about, having separate, where they
Shut
could,
off.
and where they could measure the water, and so that the road, it doesn't get charged to the road department. We'd have separate meters if they can do that. And I guess we'd have to talk to Jones and DeMille about putting structure with fencing or whatever we could do to secure it, so people just aren't putting in there and turning it on, turning the water or using the electricity. So if that's possible, but if we've got the ability to turn it off and on, and when those people come to with their livestock, they're just using. You're saying they're dumping gray water. That may be something that we could have them do with the sewage and not have it go out on
Yeah, just
the
on
ground.
surface. Yep,
Right, without using the electric and the water.
absolutely. We do
So-
like the idea that the road department pay for some of this. They're awesome like that. They've got a lot of money.
That's not what I heard yesterday.
He's hearing it all like that, if he's listening.
I invited him to come to the meeting.
I'll make a recommendation for approval of this request.
You're going to get me in trouble.
With the redo. Go back to drawing board, fee schedule,
Oh, we'll bring that
And-
later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what is the other one?
This is just for the grant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is just acceptance of the award.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and second. Any further question? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Okay. 2 in favor, opposed, nay. There being none, motion passed. 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Thank you. Next.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is we took the rural grant funding, and the said board agreed, and we set aside $3,000 to give scholarship money to San Juan County students. And we had the students submit the applications. I believe we had about 8 coming from all over the county. And then the said board reviewed their academic, their grades, and what their plans were. And I'm happy to say that we did find two individuals who just did a great job. One is from White Mesa, and that's Brett James, and Dehonea Yazi is from Monument Valley, so they'll each get a $1,500 scholarship to further their education. So we're excited that we contacted them, and we're just waiting to get approval for the checks to be cut out of the fund.
You're asking for ratification then of this.
So we can have the checks cut.
I make a motion, we ratify the decision of Economic Development to award 2 scholarships.
Okay. Second. Any further question? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Next, you're still on.
I'm still on. My request for in consideration from you for a letter of support for the 2023 San Juan County Economic Development and Visitor Services 2023 grant funding. And this has been done every year for many years here in San Juan County, and it really helps us to sustain our marketing budget. So we're asking for $250,000 match and I'll be submitting that grant before the application before June 22nd. And I need the commissioner's letter of support. We have nine or 10 other letters of support from businesses and Bluff and Blanding, the communities. So we have a total of about $500,000 that we've earmarked. If you look at the way we're going to break out the Economic Development Visitor Services budget, and it's pretty similar to what we did this past year. I really didn't want to change anything too significantly. Want to keep things moving along, and then next year we're not going to change our marketing message. Every year the messaging has changed, and I think we need to have some consistency, and that's going to help to have Relic avoid the costs of coming up with a whole new program. We need to keep our messaging out there for a couple of years. So we're building our brand and our educational messaging, sustainability messaging. So the request is for a letter of support for this program, and that we would match out of the TRT portion that comes to the Economic Development Department for $250,000. And the amount went down from UOT. They reduced it from 275 down to 250, so that the Utah Office of Tourism will have more money to spend with, because there are a lot of millions and millions of dollars come in, and they never have enough money. And I sat on the board for the Utah Office of Tourism, so I know how many applications come in and the amounts that are asked for. So the reduction in the funds from 275 to 250 will help award other applications of funding for their next year's projects.
I'll make a motion to approve the signing of the letter and the request as has been presented.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 20.
Yes, number 20 is consideration and approval of the sole source contract with Latigic LLC for grant writing. We, I think for San Juan County, we really need to unearth more grants that we can bring in to help the county and help our local businesses. So we really have to secure someone who's professional at writing grants. And I think the company that we're looking at is really the person that we're looking at. Latigic has brought in, she brought in $650,000 from the EDA grant. She's brought in $300,000 for the Bluff community. She's really got a lot of experience, her company, Latigic, and she's got the ability to write the grants, create the template, because it's really a very tedious process. I know I spent 4 months writing that grant for the event center, and then it didn't happen. And then, and then we had to spend $6,500 to get the engineering plan done, and it didn't happen. So we really need someone that has the ability to, and it takes a special person, a grant writer, who has that ability to write them. So we're going to give it a shot we'd like to for 1 year, and hopefully target grants that will be able to bring that revenue back in the community to benefit not only the county but businesses as well.
Mr. Adams.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. Second. Any further question? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Opposed, nay. 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Motion carries.
I'm glad you're doing that, Elaine. Getting a grant writer.
Yeah, we really need one. I mean,
Yep.
it is labor intensive, and it's competitive. And when it's competitive, you really need to have somebody who's sharp and I can write the outdoor recreation grant, but when it's a really big grant. We need somebody who knows the ins and outs of it. So we're going to give it a shot.
We
Thanks,
solicited, I did a nationwide solicitation to hire somebody to do this for us, just as a part-time employee. They could work from home or whatever, and literally everybody out there is looking for a grant writer right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of the choice of the dollars, and so we've been fortunate to find her. That's why it's a sole source. Instead of going through an RFP process, we knew somebody here locally already doing it. She's worked with USU, and so
Yeah, and
great
that's
partnership.
important.
So-
She's done a lot to gain a lot of funding for USU, and we've got that partnership that we're going to use down here. So all the way around it,
Just
it kind of
ties
works.
together.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Thank you.
21, Tammy?
Good morning.
Hey, Tammy.
More grants.
Yes, grants, contracts. So 21, I have an approval of a contract with Monami. This is for $13,000. It will be my aging grant funds that pay for it. It is for a program. I've been working with Monami through another grant that we did at the first of the year for discharge planning with Blue Mountain Hospital. And this is another portion of that programming. It is programming for us to do reporting at the senior centers as well as our in-home case management. So it's an overall program where all reporting and recording can go in there, and it will tie in with the state system at the end of the year for those federal state fiscal reports. And it is $13,000 for grant funding.
Mon ami, that sounds like someplace I should go visit.
It does. They say it's French for my friend.
For what?
My friend. That's yeah. It's a startup company that connected with us through volunteer and aging services when we started looking at doing virtual stuff through the senior centers during COVID. It's been a great partnership with them.
Make a motion to approve.
Second? Any question? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Next, 22.
Okay, so now emergency management for you. And this is our NIMS implementation plan. And along with this, there's also a resolution that would be 23. NIMS is the National Incident Management System, and it is a federal FEMA requirement, and FEMA is Federal Emergency Management Agency. You have to use the NIMS system when working on emergency events, and I've found record of this being approved in 2005, but I have not been able to find the documents. So what we're doing is making sure that we have the NIMS plan in place, the implementation plan in place, and that we have the resolution approved. So we're following those guidelines.
Tammy, are we still having Brittany review these contracts?
I kept Brittany very busy last week with
Okay.
every contract
So you-
and plan I sent to her.
Yeah, I've looked at all these, and as far as I can tell, everything's good up to
Okay.
the law.
Okay.
The law side of it, I've looked at.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Second. Any question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay. Your next item is the resolution supporting the NIMS implementation plan. And Brittany has reviewed this.
Okay.
So we approved the plan, and then the
Now we
next
need to
item
approve
is
the
the
resolution.
resolution. Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We approve the resolution for the National Incident Management System that Tammy's explained to us.
Second. Any question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Motion carries. 24.
This is a resolution declaring a state of emergency because of our existing drought. The governor had a drought resolution going, but he did not continue that. So we are going to continue that. This will allow funding for farmers and ranchers if we have this drought resolution in place. Most of our resolutions in the past, as far as declaring emergency, will expire within a month. We put in this that it will expire upon commission decision so that we don't have to revisit it every month through the drought.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution declaring the existence of a drought emergency in San Juan County.
Second. Question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed. 25.
And the last thing I have for you is a consideration of approval for a contract with Integrated Solutions Consulting. We did have an RFP out for a consulting company to help us write our pre-disaster mitigation plan, which has to be renewed every 5 years. And we brought in this company as the company that we selected, and this is just finalizing their contract to help us with this service.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Integrated Solutions Consulting for San Juan County.
Second. Question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed. 26.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
The big guy coming.
Who?
Good morning, Commissioners, or afternoon, and staff members. In front of you, we have the consideration of approval for the new agreement with Moab Valley Fire in San Juan County. In the past, we have had a contract with them where the cost of the fire protection is based on the tax revenue. And with the new one, they have agreed to do a amount of $46,000 a year, and it doesn't increase the cost. This contract is for 2 years with the option of renewal if we wish to continue with them. We do have 4 members that are wanting to be volunteers and start a fire department down in Spanish Valley. It's going to take us a little while to get them trained and ready to be on their own. So this contract with Moab kind of help us with the fire protection down in that area.
So there's no built-in escalation clause.
There's no what?
There's no built-in escalation clause.
Right.
Yeah. So I was a little confused. The TV reported that there was a fire in the Pack Creek subdivision. And I thought, holy smokes, another fire in Pack Creek?
I was too, because there's no.
That was downtown Moab.
Yeah, there's no Sunny Acre Street in Pack Creek either, so I was a little confused myself.
I make a motion to approve the contract with Moab Valley Fire District for fire services in San Juan County and Spanish Valley.
Okay. Second. Question. Within 2 years period now, are we going to be ready?
We're hoping, when you're dealing with volunteers, you have to consider their time, because we don't pay them for them taking time off from their jobs. So we will try and get them trained.
the last I heard was that when the fire was ignited in their area, the Moab fire truck or something couldn't make it up the hill in time to start fighting the wildfire, which escalated the burning. I don't know if my story is correct or
Is
something.
that, you mean the Pat Creek fire up on the mountain?
Yeah.
I thought that was a Forest Service BLM
Correct.
fire, and I don't think the city of Moab or the
Oh,
Moab
okay.
Valley, I don't think they responded to that fire. I think you're getting incorrect information, Willie.
Okay.
Yeah, the first entity to respond to that was the Forest Service and the BLM, and then Moab was called to kind of stand by the homes and protect the homes later. So
But could the engine not get up the road?
I haven't heard. I'm not sure
It wouldn't have.
what story that
Yeah,
is.
they would be more structure support,
Right.
more structure fire and rather than the Forest Service and
Maybe
BLM.
we better hold up on the contract till they get a turbo on that fire station.
We're super appreciative of Moab Fire. They've done a lot in the past for us in this area, just protecting structures. But more importantly, they also respond to the vehicle crashes, things like that. There was a fire just a couple of weeks ago that they responded to on the highway there. So they've done a great job in supporting, and we appreciate their efforts. This contract a little bit odd than what we've had in the past, where it also allows for them to train our personnel so that these volunteers that are coming out and willing to fight fires in this area can become better trained than what we really have throughout the county, where they provide structured training, but it's all kind of dependent on their time. And so I wish we could tell you that we'd be up ready in a year. I mean, there's a facility that we can lease right now. We have the equipment, the engines ready to go, but there was a lot of hesitancy and concern from the public about us taking on our own without having properly trained firefighters. Well, this will get us to that point, and then if we can work on that final building. It's always been the intent that one day San Juan County takes us over and does this like we do the rest of the counties. And so stay tuned. We'll be heading that direction. But for right now, we certainly appreciate Moab Valley Fire District for their support and their efforts.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further question or comment? There be none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Opposed, nay. 2 in
Thanks.
favor, 0 opposed. Motion carries.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you. 27.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, this one here is, let me get to where we're at on our agenda here. That one's Dave. I'm not seeing mine on the system. I'll just go ahead and read it. So mine is consideration and approval of a notice of award and intent to negotiate a contract with David Churchill for the lease of San Juan County Airport hangar located in Monticello Airport for $425 a month. I put this out as a notice of intent for anybody in the county or who we solicited to, who was wanting to rent this airplane hangar. We used to have a county plane that this hangar housed, but we had sold the county plane, put that money in future capital funds, and now we've got a hangar that's just sitting there. This will bring us a monthly revenue that we can budget in capital expenditures or whatever the case is. It'll pay the light bill in the building. The contract, what you'll see is a contract that will come back. The contracts are a little bit more in depth, where at an airport, all you can use as a hangar for airport related items. So you have to have either a helicopter or airplane in that. You can't have extra storage space or anything like that. David Churchill is one that had responded with the highest lease amount. I had suggested around $300 in my solicitation. He far outbeat everybody that had proposed on this. There were two other proposals that we'd received, and his was for the whopping $425, which will go a long ways for us.
Mr. Adams,
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the airport hangar lease as presented.
question? What was the use, planned use?
Before
Right.
we had the county's plane,
Mr.
he's going to house his plane in here as well. That's all they can use it for. Where
Nothing else.
it's on the runway, you can only use it by FAA guidelines for a hangar, for an airplane, or a helicopter.
Okay.
And so I'll bring that contract back to you once
So there'll
we
be
get it all drafted.
air service available.
Yes, yep.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, aye also. Opposed, nay. 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Motion carries. Board of Equalization.
Okay, now we need a
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion. We go into Board of Equalization.
I second. Any question? There be none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed. We're now in Board of Equalization. 28, Mr. Madon.
This one is Lyman Duncan, our clerk auditor, that presents these.
Yeah. That's your can. The first one is Effie Paul. She's an elderly woman that lives in Blanding.
Do you have your mic?
No, I think it's off. I'm sure it is. Anyway, she's an elderly woman that in her 80s that kind of her application through the abatement program was missed by her son. Her son also lives with her. He also has a disability. So their combined income per year is around $16,000. And like to approach the commissioners for a commission abatement for this woman and her son.
Do you know them, Brittany?
I don't know who they are. I
Okay.
don't recognize the name.
Okay. So they're asking for an abatement of $9,000?
Well, it would be both years. No, it would only be about around 2,000.
Oh, 2,000.
So it'd be
Okay.
2020 and
I
2021.
misread that.
And we'll have them on track for the regular abatement program,
Okay.
of which they will qualify easily.
Now we can go ahead and take action in Board of Equalization, can't we, Mac?
You can, you have to.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we honor the request from the individuals for a tax abatement.
Second. Any further question? There be none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed. 29.
The second is a commercial property. The owners of the property have had some dementia issues over the last 5 years, and they've missed this and other items that normally they would be taking care of. And Mac and I visited about how could we help move this along, and they approached us and said, if you will waive the interest and the penalties, we have enough money that we can take care of the property taxes. of which all of these would be moving towards, from what I understand with the family, some liquidation. And so by doing so, they will pay the county about $10,300, and then interest and penalty will be a commission abatement. And the nice thing is we can get our money up front rather than in the wind down process. And to me, it seemed like a good deal. And so I ask for your approval to do so.
Okay.
I'm familiar with this case because we're dealing with it at the AOG. We have a revolving loan fund loan on the building that at the AOG, and we've been working on it for several months. They've got issues, health issues, even involving Alzheimer's, and no longer able to operate the business, and certainly have, if they can get the building sold and get some help with some of the penalties and stuff on their loan, on their taxes, they owe the income tax, a large amount of income tax, and Representative Lyman's working with them on that. I think it's the best choice we have to
I agree.
do this as requested,
Relief.
Lyman, and so I'd make a motion that we. What are you trying to abate? Just the penalties,
Yes, interest and penalty,
interest and penalties.
Yeah.
about
we-
$2,400.
Yeah, we abate the interest and penalties on this particular property. That's my motion.
In addition, they have roughly 2 weeks to pay the county. So we put that in with them and said, you need to pay the county up front. We can't have it drug out for a while.
Yep.
So motion?
Yeah, that's my motion. To abate the interest penalties and get it paid up on
2
the
weeks.
timeline he's requesting.
Okay. Second the motion. Any question? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Commission report.
I make a motion that we come out of Board of Equalization back into our regular commission meeting.
Okay, second. Any question? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. 2 in favor, 0 opposed. Motion carries. Commission meeting. Report, commission reports. Mr. Adams, do you have any?
Oh, I'm checking my calendar. On the 15th, on the 16th, I don't know why it's showing that 15th. On the 16th, I have a board meeting with Utah Association of Counties. And then I plan to attend the UAC Justice Conference on the 28th,
Yeah.
29th. And I did receive notification last week. I applied to be on the Colorado River Advisory Committee for the state of Utah. And I got notification that my application was accepted, so I'll be on that advisory committee for a couple of years. And our first meeting is on the 27th in Loa, Utah. 27th and 28th. So I'll be attending those meetings. Let's see.
Is that with the, Mr. Lyman?
No,
No?
no, that's only with the people that were appointed to the committee in the state of Utah to sit on that advisory committee for Colorado River water. So,
Okay.
and that's pretty much all I have to report.
So you're on board? Do a lot of dancing
I'm
with the
gonna,
rain.
I'm gonna divert all the water in the Colorado River to
Exactly.
San Juan County.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep.
My report will be short also. I went and attended the gathering in Monument Valley, May 27th. Mr. McDonald was also present. Governor Cox, Secretary of Interior, President Nez were all there signing of the settlement agreement. So we witnessed those. Hopefully Washington rain will come down soon. Heavy rain. But that was on the 27th. Then I traveled to Farmington, then to Crown Point to attend the Navajo Nation Broadband Initiative Group, counties, including Petrie County, Navajo County, San Juan County were present, and we met at the Navajo Technical University, and talked to the president there of the university, Elmer Guy. And the university there are engaged in doing a lot of studies other than what the broadband is, so they are willing to assist and in terms of analyzing what the needs pertain to the Navajo Nation land development, economic development. That's another contact that could be made. My recommendation to him was that we need to look at somebody that would be inclined to support the idea of putting in major infrastructures on the reservation, looking at the future. Water power lines and whatnot, roads and stuff like that. So in that sense, if those infrastructures are already in place in developing communities, it would be a lot more sense for business, economic development to take place instead of right now. Seems like if an interest to start a business on the Navajo Nation, the lease is negotiated, then they question, what about power line, water line, sewer line? Well, it's up to you to develop it. And that's a kind of plan that's in place now, which is not very effective. The other thing that I talked to Mr. President Guy was that a lot of companies are closing down in China and also in Russia. What's the plan for the Navajo Nation? Anybody talking to Commerce Department in Washington, see if they could attract some development or interest in joint ventures and stuff like that. So it might take a higher thinking cap than I have. So to transmit those communications. So those are some of the things that I'm looking at in terms of what will be going on. That would be my report, and I'll be engaged in what we call corporate meeting for the Natsan School Board, starting tomorrow, 8, 9, 10, and then 12 and 13, and we have it 5 days. So
That's a lot.
at the same time, I have 7 county infrastructure board of directors meeting, I believe, on the 9th. So I might have to take to the Zoom to attend those sessions. So that's my report.
I got
Thank
one
you for
question.
listening, and
One question of Brittany. Are we still, is our presence required in court on the 22nd of June,
Yes.
the commission?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. And that's 1 o'clock is what I have on my calendar, do you think?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So with that, do we have any other business or concluded all the agenda? So I'll go ahead and not motion, but as chair, take the liberty of closing the adjournment.
With the second,
Huh?
with the second from you,
Yeah.
then we need permission to use your stamp as well on the contracts.
Yes, sir. That's after the motion.
I
Isn't
know. In case you were in a hurry to skedaddle.
it? With that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. 2 in favor, 0 opposed. We're adjourned. Oh, we stand adjourned.
Either way sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Commissioners, I just wanted to let you know that
So how's it work?
we have
Busy?
collected
It's busy. I've been very busy. Yep. I started part-time
Really?
and I've worked my way to a nice full-time position. So
Yeah, I met your other half.
my husband
Yeah.
at Jones and DeMille.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bet you
You
do.
brought him in.
Yeah, so I'm being since December 17th.